confident with that.
All right.
I think given the scenario that we, the truth be told, we haven't actually had much time because we've had tech weeks and we have all sorts of stuff. But
Zinay did inform me that you guys are
yeah,
busy. That's why
we
he's
were
not here
running with
today.
we were running with our. He's gone to tech weeks Johannesburg. So I think given the fact, which is good, we've got the training which was recorded. I
Yes.
think that was perfect. So we could go back, we could resort to it, and from that we can just refresh. So that was perfect.
All
We're
right.
happy with that.
And then we can
Are
continue
we
with day
recording these
two.
ones as well?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
making a
all right,
screen recording of this as well.
cool.
All right. So we covered everything on top on the previous day.
Right,
So what we're going to be doing now, excuse me,
no problem.
we're going to be using all of these predefined settings that we set up to create a new job and then work off of that.
Perfect.
So creating a new job is fairly simple. Just want to run you through what all the options are here. So new job is to create now the new job. Open
Right,
job is to open a pre-existing job.
right,
Batch jobs is to output multiple jobs at the same time to screen to machine. Job recovery, this is a very powerful tool. Once you create a new job and you save it, it creates a backup file as well. In the event that that standard job has been corrupt or it no longer wants to open, you can use the job recovery to open that .bak file. I'll show you now how that looks,
okay,
and then recover your job to the last valid save point. You
great.
might lose some information, but it's better than losing your
Yeah, all
whole
the
job.
essentials.
Preferences is just some predefined settings that we can set up. Can't remember if we did go through this on day one. I do not think so.
No, we didn't.
Okay, so I'm still going to start here quickly because it is quite important that you have a valid understanding of
Those
what's
are the
going on here.
preferences, eh?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's two places to locate preferences. One is here on CV25 and the other is under File, Preferences.
Okay, underneath, right.
So what preferences control is you can add your company name here, your company address, your city, contact, email, and comments. So that's just all your predefined settings for your company.
Right.
Measurement units just controls what measurements units you use throughout the job. You can change it there between millimeters and inches, and then you can set your precision as well according to what you want it to be. Trim trailing decimal zeros, what that'll do is if my precision is set to 1,001 and my value is only 1.2, it will not give me 1.200. It'll trim the trailing decimal zeros, so it'll only show 1.2.
That'll
Allow you,
round it off.
eh?
It'll round it off.
Correct. Allow unit switch on status bar. That what this does is it allows you to switch your unit here at
Okay.
the bottom. So you can't see there now with that thing in
Yeah,
the way,
sure.
but you'll be able to switch between millimeter and inches there. And angle precision is just on your angle units, how precise they snap. General is just to set the size of undo redo stacks or set to 0 to disable undo redo. So your undo redo options, you will see there's an option on top for it.
Just look, and I study one. I am noticing that I think it could be age. Is there any way that we can actually, when you're on the PC, can we zoom into the? Is there any other way to zoom into when you're working with the machine?
How do you mean zoom in?
Sometimes the writings are too small.
You need to set your
The
aspect
PC.
ratio on your computer.
Oh, okay, all right. So that I can change it there. Thank you.
Correct. Set the size of the undo redo stack. That's just to undo or redo your items that you did.
Yeah.
Autosave timer, very important. You can set your autosave timer here down as well, but I wouldn't advise going down past 15 minutes because if it has to save every 5 minutes, it's going to impact the performance and speed of Cabinet Vision. So sweet spot is about 15 to 20 minutes.
And you set it to 20.
Yeah. Bear in mind, you have to create a save file for your job before autosave starts to work.
Right.
So once you open a job, first thing you do is you save it. If you do not save it, it will not start automatically saving, and then something happens, your job closes, and you will lose information.
It's lost.
Set number of jobs shown on recent job list menu. So what that does is once you go here to file, you have a recent jobs here. You can set how many jobs you want to see there.
How many can you open up at a time?
No, not open up, only view. It's basically all that does is it'll show you here
Yeah.
20
Right.
recent jobs that you can then go and
But if
select and
you're
open
busy at
one,
one, you can only do one at a time.
only one at a time. Right, so then save drawing scenes in separate files. So if you save a drawing scene, we'll get to that on day 3. You can let it set and save in a separate file. Save last opened job, saved job path. What that does is if I go here to open job, my file location here will be from the last job that I opened. Create backup copy when opening a job. That's the backup that I spoke about. This must be on. If you go and switch this off and you create a new job and that job gets corrupted and you can't open it, you guys are going to cry to us and tell us, listen, I can't get my job open. How do I recover it? The first thing I am going to look for is that switched on. If that's switched off, I'm going to unfortunately have to tell you my hands are tied. That job is gone. That has to be on. Use radial menus. What that does, I'll show you that in the job. You can switch your right click radial menu to a radial or a list view. Suspend UCS while sectioning assemblies. Don't stress about that. You're never going to use that. That's more on the programming side. JavaScript UCS debug as well. UCS IntelliSense as well. And then enable sidebar redraw clipping as well. That's more on the on my side of Cabinet Vision, which you will never really use.
Yeah, sure.
Message log options. Here you can just deselect and select some messages that will pop up if there's an error in Cabinet Vision, such as guide size is too big for the opening or interior support not found for concealed hinges or however. What this does is if Cabinet Vision picks up one of these instances, it'll give you an error message on the bottom right corner on the yellow triangle showing you that
And that's if you haven't assigned any color or something of that nature.
one of these error messages. Yes. Auto plan is just for auto designing a kitchen, which you will never use. We do not advise you to use this. I'll show you how it works in Cabinet Vision, but it's
Can you activate it and deactivate it?
no, it's something that you can use in Cabinet Vision in the design. I'll show you how it works, but I would advise to stay away from it. Lights, you can just set some lights and light specifications here for your renderings and such. We'll fill a little bit more with these settings once we get to rendering training in day 3.
Right.
Auto constraints, you will never modify this. This is also again more on the programming side. Analytics, that's just if you want to join the improvement program on Cabinet Vision, yes or no. Spell checking is for Cabinet Vision's automatic spell checker that you can set some items and check spelling as you type, ignore words in uppercase, ignore words with numbers, ignore internet and file addresses, correct two initial capitals, capitalize first letter of sentences, and replace text as you type.
Right.
Layout is just some layout settings that you can modify. For clearances, you can refer your side clearance, sync to sync opening, window clearance, door clearance, floor to upper above reference, floor to upper above range, end of wall clearance, and end wall clearance. These will start making a little bit more sense once we start designing. Combined toes, assembly depth tolerance, unfinished end tolerance, and then edit. I'll show you how this works.
Right.
Double click on assembly in wall elevation mode. So what this does is you can either then double click on the unit and go into the unit for section view, or it opens up elevation view for the section view.
Okay.
But this will make a little bit more sense once we start designing. Doors, what this does is your maximum size as well as minimum size and maximum size. If your unit goes over 1,000 meters wide and you set there use pair doors, it will automatically add 2 pair
If you choose a
doors.
single door to make the paper.
Correct. You can switch that on or off if you want to. Geometry, hide unmatched primary operations, include banding in cut list part size, incorporate door assembly operations and slab door for part for CNC, output buyout doors for CNC. So this is mainly on your screen to machine side. So we'll go over this again once you guys get your S2M training, but we'll only do this once your machines have been set up and are running. Full object works with your auto plan. I'll show you later how that works, but like I said, if all goes good and well, you will never even want to use this.
Right.
All right. Now, that's also part of your pre-setup. So this is something that you only go and set up once. Once you're happy with it, you can just continue, and then you can just go and modify it here and there if you need to.
Okay, let's.
All right. And then where we're going to be starting for today is under new job.
Right.
So creating a new job, what all of these options are going to do now, it's going to allow us to select whatever we want to use in the job.
Mm-hmm.
Very important that you remember whatever I select now is not locked. I can come back and I can modify it and change it as I need. But everything that we're going to be selecting here comes out of the predefined setup.
Sure.
Material schedules, assembly, doors, and such. That's why it's incredibly important to have this predefined setting set up correctly before starting a job, because it's just going to make your life a whole lot easier on the long run.
Great.
So on the job,
Mm-hmm.
first tab information, we can start setting up the client information.
All right.
Job number is the client name or the job name. So I'm just going to say there, Unipanel training. And then description. Ach nee, Dennis. Excuse me.
Okay.
Hi, Dennis.
Yes, I try and get all the guys at Bloom and just see maybe he's there, or if you phone the hotel and just ask him to check on him. Dude, I wonder if he took his meds or maybe he just overstayed himself. I'll, I'll, I'll do that. I'll phone Michael. He's going to give us a call. Yeah, I'll try that and let me know then. Right, okay, good, Eric in it. All right, I'll speak to you. Ciao. Sorry, that's Junaid's dad. They're a bit concerned. He hasn't called this morning, and it's not like. 1 second.
No, no problem.
Because he said goodbye last night. Oh, so you did speak to him this morning. Is he fine? Okay, good thing he did speak to Keenan. Let me just. Um, okay, that sounds good. Okay, thank you. We can move on. Right.
So once that selection, you can select your starting or rail schedule here as well
Right.
and modify for this job. Now, before I forget, you'll see under each and every one of these tabs,
Yeah.
there's a set a system defaults.
Right.
What that does is as soon as I set this up and I say set a system defaults, it'll save this as a default. So every time that I open up a new job, it'll open up with these specified settings. So you can set this up according to what your standards are or what you use most commonly, and then it'll always open up already when you open up a new job.
So you always got to double check those.
You always have to double check it and make sure that the settings are correct. Yes.
Right.
Under doors, I can now go and select my doors that I want to use.
Right.
Under all, you'll see there's a few tabs, all, base, drawer, upper, base EP, tool EP, and upper EP. Now under all, I can go and select a door that all of my units will be using.
Right.
So I can go here under style. On the three dots, I can go and update and say, I want to use
Aluminium door, whatever it is.
the arch door. Once that door is selected, under material, I can go and select my material schedule. Now you'll see there's only one because I filtered it out, but let's just take something else. Let's take a shaker door. And then there's your material schedules. I can then go and select storm grade peen, and I'm happy with that. Then I can select my outside edge profile. Now you'll remember all of these gets predefined and set up on the door.
Right.
But you can modify it for the job as well. You can change a different outside edge profile, inside edge detail, raised panel detail,
And that's per panel as such, because you got defined paneling in any event. You can select the top door to have a different profile from the bottom door, the middle door, so on.
Yes, but that you do on the door specifically.
Correct, yeah.
This will set it up for every single door that you design.
Yeah, right.
If you want to modify it and change it, you do it on the unit specifically.
Okay, good.
Once this is selected and I want to create a different door for my upper units, I can go to where my upper is listed and I can go and select a different door and I can go and change my material.
Good.
I can do that for my drawers as well. Now you'll see once I modified it, it puts it in italics. So you'll see there is a manual change made to it, and I can do the same for my drawers. My base units also contains my tall units. So my tall units will use whatever my base units are specified as.
Unless you specify otherwise.
Unless you specify otherwise, but that you will do on your tall units specifically.
Yeah, I see that, right.
Now, very important, if you want your doors to grain match, if you have a grain match material assigned for your doors and you need to grain match them on the saw, this has to be selected. If that is not selected, your doors will not grain match. So grain match for your doors and end panels, set that up, set the system default, always keep it that way.
Yeah.
All right. Once that is done, you don't need to worry about flutes. I don't even think you have that option, and it's not something you're going to be using. Then under layout is where we set up our predefined settings for our units. So if I drag and drop a unit out of my catalog and I drop it, it's going to be on this size. So my base units are going to be this side, uppers that side, tall that side, vanity that side. So you can set this up according to what your standards are for the units and then say set a system defaults.
Right.
Once cabinet has been set up, I can go to countertop.
Yeah.
Under countertop, I can choose my construction method, which won't really need to worry about because our thickness and everything from the countertops comes from the materials.
Right.
But you can set it there for 30 or 40 millimeter.
Sure.
And then under materials is where I select my materials for my countertops. So I can go and select what I want to use, as well as modify for this job. Profiles is the edge profiles that I can assign on the countertops only. So I can go and select a profile there of what I want to use on my countertops. And then layout is my starting dimensions for my countertops. So in the job, you have the ability to auto build countertops. What that does is it checks wherever your base units are and it builds countertops all over your base units. Now, once you select that option, it'll use these references as
you can modify.
Yes. So face overhang is how far it goes over the face edge, so that you can set up on your standard. End overhang is how far it goes over the ends, and minimum depth is what's the minimum size of a countertop before it cannot build a countertop. So I'm just going to set that to 150. So if my cabinet is thicker than 150, it'll build a countertop. If my cabinet is smaller than 150, it will not build a countertop on it. Add splash is it does it automatically add a splash pack or not. Once that's done, I can go to molding and I can go and select my molding that I want to use for my different types. Now you can go and modify and change this in the job as well, but it is good. It saves time to set it up from the get-go as well on the standard ones that you're going to use. So what you're going to do is you're going to select applied and select the applied molding that you might use. If you know you're going to use baseboard, go and select the baseboard that you're about to use. Once you select, if you want to use casing, you can select the casing model profile that you want to use. You can select your ceiling that you want to use, your chair rail, your crowning. You'll see under crowning, you'll have fillers as well for your ceilings. 100, 150, 200, 250, and 300. Your light rails you can set as well, and then your scribes. Now, when I go and select molding in my job and I want to add molding, and I select applied, it's automatically going to start with this profile. If I go and select seeding, it's automatically going to start with this profile. So that's just your first profile that it starts off with, and then you can modify it from there. Right. You can change the material on it as well, but if it's just for design purposes, you can leave it on material not assigned.
Right.
Otherwise, you can go and select the material that you want to use, such as, I'm just going to take a PG color quickly. Okay, it's fine. That's why my material schedule is.
You're going to modify it.
Yeah. There we go. There you can go and modify your materials for all of your different profiles. Add the material that you want, and then it'll start off with that. Now, under molding, you'll see it's only that option that you have. Once that is done and everything is set up on these 5 tabs, I can go and say, okay. That'll now open up my job. Now, like I said before, the first thing you do not even draw a wall yet. The first thing you do is you go and you say File, Save As, select your save location, and save it. As soon as you do that, let me show you quickly. I'm just going to copy this quickly. It creates your ABV file, your backup file, or your .bak file for your backup file. And if it does not have the save location,
what is the abbreviation for ABV?
I'm not even sure. All I know is we use it for the backups. Properties, no, ABV.
Abbreviated. It's fine. It's fine.
So always before you even draw a wall, create a save file so that it starts automatically saving. Right. Because your laptop might run out of power, power might dip, network might dip, cabinet vision might crash, and then you lose your job because you did not save it.
Yeah.
In that event, there's nothing we can do. All right. Now, once I'm in my job, I can now go and start designing. Before we start designing, I'm going to explain to you quickly what's going on here on top. So just to get just one unit in here, just to show you all the different settings. Now you'll see, first option I have here is render mode.
Right.
Under render mode, I can select wire mode, which just shows me the wired outline of the units.
Correct.
Fill mode gives me the full color, the finished color of the cabinet, and then texture mode shows me the texture of the unit.
Wow.
Right. Now, depending on what view mode you select here will impact the performance of cabinet vision. Right. If you have a fully designed kitchen and you're busy designing, do not put it in texture mode.
Yeah.
Because it's going to slow it down significantly. The only time I ever actually go into texture mode is if I want to view something or if I want to do a render. Right. Otherwise, stay in wire mode. Window mode allows you to split your windows, so you can have 3 different viewpoints at the same time.
Yeah.
Depending on how you want to view it, and then you can go and select your 3 different viewpoints.
Just 3 different planes.
Fair warning, this has a massive impact on your performance.
Yeah, I saw that.
So if your PC cannot handle it, do not use it. Rather stay in a single view. Your design experience on cabinet vision will be a lot better. This option here on top, we're going to be covering this on day 3. That's your layers and dimensions. Sorry.
No problem.
That's your layers and dimensions. Now, layers and dimensions are what controls what we see, how we see it. So, for instance, my unit looks now like this. And now it looks like that.
Yeah. So
it controls what you see, how you see it, when you see it, as well as where you see it. All right. So we're going to be covering this on day 3. It's quite extensive, and there's quite a lot that we're going to be covering with that. And if we were to go through this on today, it's just going to confuse you, and you will not have a solid understanding of what it is. So don't stress too much about that right now. All 3 of these options are layers and dimensions, which we will be covering on day 3. Next option we have here is, before we get to the new room and new job, is job and room. What this does is I can go into job here, and I can go and change all of those settings that I predefined when I started the job. So if my client now all of a sudden decides he no longer wants Treviso super text, I can just go here and I can go and change it. And there's my unit now, super black. All right. Now, you can go and modify everything in your cabinet, from your construction, materials, hardwares, doors, flutes, and layout, to go and modify it and change it on the fly as you are designing. Same with your countertop, and here you can now go and change again what you want in your molding. All right. Now, incredibly important, what you set up here in job will affect the entire job, including all of your other rooms. That's why you have this room option here. Room option modifies for this room. Now, before I show you what that does, I'm going to show you quickly how to create a new room. If you press here on this new room little button, brings up my room properties. You'll see now there it automatically refers to room, no longer to job. I'm going to say there scullery. And then I have all of the same options as what I did with my job, and it'll automatically start with the parameters for the job. But now if I go and say, I don't want this in super black, I want it grass super matte. My construction, I want Golas. And my drawer box, I want Bloom Medieval box, and my runners Medieval box. And I say, okay. Here's my new room now. So now if I go and design, it's a complete different construction, color, everything. But on my previous room, it's still what it was. So you can go in your multiple different rooms. And you can go into room and modify what you need to. For that room specifically. It's very important that you remember that, because if you go and change it in job, it'll only change it if the room parameter is exactly the same. So if I now go and change here, so just to give you a quick example, I'm not even in kitchen 2. I'm going to be in scullery. I'm going to go to job. I'm going to change my construction method to, let's change my materials, it'll visually change better. I'm going to change that to Astana stupid text. Didn't change this one, but it did change this one.
That's the main job.
Because this room's properties are still the same as the job. As soon as you manually change this, it will no longer look towards what the job parameters are. Same with your material schedules. If you change something underneath, it will no longer look towards what the parent is. All right. Now, creating a new job, there's multiple new room, there's multiple ways to do it, which we are going to be checking now in modifications, but the main standard way is new room. Create your room properties, and then you set up your new room, and then it'll be there. All right. Job and room properties, it's pretty straightforward. It's honestly not that difficult to set up or understand.
It's basically assigning the designation to...
You just set your room on what it needs to use. That's exactly it. Now, in my room, once I'm happy with what my job and my room properties are, we have modifications. Under modifications, I have now a few quick nice things that I can do here. Quick room, do not ever use it. So what Quick Room does is it allows you to select your wall layout.
Yeah.
It's nice to set up your quick walls, but it's actually just quicker to design your walls as you need it. And then give your wall dimensions, add a door to the room. I'm going to say the add door, unable to load object. The reason for this is if you want to use this quick room design,
Yeah.
what it does is it'll go and you can go and select now what do you want it to use. Add countertops, add molding, add floor, fill style. It can use whatever it wants out of the catalog and it'll design you a quick room on its own. Problem with this is that room that it's going to design is never going to be to your standards. No matter how hard you try setting it up, you're just going to waste your time because at the end of it, you're going to be deleting the whole room and you're just going to be redesigning it anyway. And you're going to spend so much time fixing the errors, whereas it would have
That's
just been
just more
faster.
tedious.
That,
So if you did a room, for example, like a 4 meter by 4 meter with a door,
yes,
and does it fill it with fillers and all sorts of things?
it does all of that. It adds cabinets, it adds countertops, it adds zincs, it adds
Can we
washing
do the
room.
test just to see what it does?
It's
Is it
not
not worth
set
it?
up for it. The problem with it is you need to do a lot of pre-setup. You need to design custom catalogs for it. It's honestly not worth
So
it.
have you tried it?
I have done it in the past. My CV23 was set up perfectly to use it. But like I said, the problem is I'm going to set up a quick room now.
Yeah, let's see
It's
what it
going
does.
to, it's,
Is that the auto full function?
it's the autofill function, yes. The problem with it is, like I'm trying to explain,
Yeah.
your cabinets are not going to be correct. You're going to waste so much time fixing the quick room. It's just going to be easier and faster to just design the room from the get-go. If you want to set it up, I'll show you how to set up the specifications for it later when we get to catalog
No,
editor.
let's get to the training, and then we can always go back to that if it's
Sorry, my
involved.
yeah, my job bombed out because of that quick room because the stuff's not set up. And that's fine. Right, so rest of the modifications here, what we have here is copy room. So what this does is it creates a copy of the room that I was in, creates a copy of it, and then I can go and rename it, change it, modify it, and then I have two identical copies of the rooms. Delete room, you can go and select a room that you have and delete it. Are you sure you want to delete this room? Yes. Completely removes the room.
Right.
There's no way to get that room back. Once you delete it, it's gone. So always be mindful that you don't accidentally delete the incorrect rooms. If you did delete it, best thing you can do is save your job before you delete it. If you accidentally deleted the wrong one, close your job without saving it, then go back in, it'll restore to the previous save.
Okay, right.
Center room, quite a nice function. If my room is completely out of center and I'm struggling to get it back to the center, I can go modifications, center room, and it'll bring my room back to the center of the screen. Reverse room, quite nice. It flips the room on its x-axis. So
You could be busy with the same job but in two different spaces and it's being flipped. Yeah. Okay.
correct. And it'll flip
And it
not
flips
just
the
the
cabinets as
entire
well.
room, it flips the cabinets
So if you're
construction
a
as well.
left-handed person, you can change it for a right-hand
So
configuration.
there my cabinet is now. Let me show you. It's left hinged. As soon as I go and I flip the room,
It should be right hinged.
it's right hinged now.
Yeah.
So it flips everything on its x-axis. Export room and import room. This is quite a nice function. If you designed a full room now, you have multiple rooms, but the jobs are starting to get too big and you want to export a room into a new job so that it has more efficiency and runs faster. You don't have to go and design the entire room in a new job. All you do is you go to the room, modifications, export room. You go and choose a save location, and I'm just going to say here Scullery example. I'm going to save it. I'm going to close this job.
What is it? What does it export to? Is the CAD?
I'm going to show you now.
Okay. So you exported it out.
I'm going to open a new job. Don't care about any of this right now. All I'm going to do is I'm going to go to plan before I even start designing. modifications, import room, go and find it. You'll see it's a CDR file, not a CDJ file. It's a CD room file. I'm going to open it, and there's my entire job. It exports the entire room.
So the question here is that we're getting a lot of people, especially for me, for manufacturing. I have a lot of kitchen guys who are buying from various different people, and some of them are using programs like ArchiCAD and what's the other ones?
I'm going to stop you right there. No, you cannot import a room from a different software.
It has to. So
You
I can
cannot.
only. You can't.
No two design softwares are compatible with each other in that aspect. You do not find
Because
software.
Christo did say to me, you can import a floor plan.
You can import a CAD floor plan, but
And
not
what
a
must that
design.
format be?
That should be your DXF formats, but it does not import a design for you to output. It only outputs a sketch for you to design over.
Ah, okay. All right, that makes sense. All right.
Now, no two design softwares are compatible with each other in that aspect.
Okay. So these are all okay. All right, good. We can move on.
All right. So export room, import room, that's a good function if you want to
either copy the design or you whatever the case is.
No, you just export the room, and in my previous job, the room will still be there.
Yeah.
It just exports a copy of the room that you can then import into a new room. All right. Order rooms, quite a nice function. I'm just going to add a few new rooms. So what it does is if my rooms are scullery, room 2, room 3, room 4, room 5, but I want my room 5 underneath my scullery, I can go here, order rooms, select room 5, move it up.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it'll order it down as such.
Right.
Wall height, that changes my wall height throughout my entire job. So if I have 3 walls, well, a bunch of walls here, and I want to change the heights on all of them, wall heights, and I change my walls to 2 meter. Okay. Soffit height, keep existing, adjust assembly heights, adjust, keep assembly heights, enter value, and then I can change my soffit value for my walls as well.
Right.
Ignore modified walls. So if you manually change the wall's height, it will ignore it. It will not change it. And update room properties. It will go into your room and change the wall height there as well.
Right.
So I'm going to say, okay. And now all of my room walls are 2 meter high. So that's to change your wall height throughout your job. If your job is too high or your walls are too tall or somebody made an error with measuring. Okay. So that's all the options here under modifications. Do you have any questions before we move on?
No. Fine.
All right. Next options we have is here under utilities. So under utilities, the only options you'll ever use here is connections, update job, and import SketchUp model. What connections does is if I go in there, I can go and say my job connections, which is completely blank now. I'll have to have a look at that, but don't stress too much about that. Main thing here is the update job. If I now go back and I changed something, for instance, I changed something outside of the job in my construction methods on the construction method that I'm using, or materials, or hardware, or doors, or whatever, and I come back into the job, those changes will not have taken effect. Because this job is, yes, this job is a little universe, a little pocket universe on its own, excluding from the external sources. So if you want those changes to come in and take effect, you need to go to utilities, update job, and select what you need to update. Right. So if it was materials, you select materials. If it was constructions, select it. If it was doors, select it. If it was connections, select it. If it was parameters, select it and say okay. Right. Then it'll bring in all the changes. Please remember this. The amount of times we've had support cases from clients saying they've changed stuff, but it does not want to work in the job because they have not updated. Always remember to update your job. Import SketchUp model we'll get to at a later stage. What this does is it gives you the ability to import design appliances only, not customer or not cabinets to manufacture or such. You can go and design a SketchUp model of a vase, a bottle, a wine bottle, or a TV, or a lamp, or a coffee machine, or whatever. Import the SketchUp model and save it then in your catalog. Now, we will be covering this at a later stage,
Yeah.
as it is quite technical for now, but then you can bring it in as a design appliance just to beautify your renders and your designs.
Right.
Just please remember, you cannot bring in um, manufacturable cabinets using the import SketchUp model. All right. Okay, so then that's that for the options here on top for now. You can have your window in and out zoom here as well, but that's why you have your scroll function as well. Now, under file preferences, there's a few extra preferences that we can modify here that we cannot do from outside of the job.
Okay.
So general, that's still the same. Measurement units, that's still the same. Message log options, that is now what preferences there on that little triangle. Can I just move that? Let's see there.
Yeah. Oh yes. Okay. At the bottom. Right.
So it'll pop up there a yellow triangle with a 1, a 2, a 3, or 4, or 5, depending on the amount of errors. And then you can go and select it, and it'll give you a list of all the errors on which units.
Right.
Auto plan, like I said, I'm just going to skip that over. Full object, this is now where you go and fill up and set up what you want your auto plan to use. So you need to go and say now, what catalog? For my furnishings, what catalog? For my doors, what catalog? For my windows, what catalog? Catalogs for my appliances, sinks, dishwashers, ranges,
So you always
oven.
got a ticket. You got a, yeah.
Not just ticket. The problem is
Yeah.
there is no catalog set up specifically for refrigerators or cooktops or ovens or ranges or dishwashers or sinks or catalogs or compactors or such, and for your fixtures and such as well. You need to go and redefine and redesign your entire library, because right as of now, all of our design appliances and furnishings are in one catalog, so it's easier to access, find, drag, and drop. If you want to go and use the autofill option, you need to go and design a catalog just for sinks, just for dishwashers, just for ranges, just for ovens, just for cooktops, just for refrigerators, for hoods, microwaves, compactors, washers, dryers. And then at the end of the day, your whole list of catalogs here is going to be so long, you're never going to be able to find anything quite fast. And to set that up takes an enormous amount of time. You are more than welcome to do it if it's something that you want to do. All you do then is you go and set up all of your catalogs and you move. I'm going to show you how CVCAT Edit works at the end of today, so you will be able to do it. But then all of this has to come out as its own catalog.
Right. As opposed to into a subcategory.
Into a subcatalog, and then here under preferences, full object, you need to go and specify what catalog can be used
Right.
for what. But the thing is, you also need to define this Zincs catalog as a Zincs catalog, which means you will not be able to save anything else except defined Zincs in the catalog. Right. But I'll show you later how to set that up in CVCAT Edit when we get to that. Auto constraints, you're never going to use that, so don't stress too much about that. Spell checking, so again, just to set up a spell checking. Printing is select how the design views should be printed, so that's for your renders and your screen prints. Does it render the print, so it re-renders view for high quality, or screen print, it just takes a screen image and it prints it, and then stretch or shrink view to fit paper, print view the same size as display. We're going to set this up and go properly through it when we get to 3D rendering training on day 3. That's on day 3, yes. Tools, what this tools does is it adds you smart lines, your snap angle on your smart lines. So this is in effect with this, your smart lines that you can switch on or off. So you can set their sizes, how they snap, how they work, how their tolerance is. There's snapping options on the grids that you want them to snap. your mid position, arc centers, intersections, and you can set your shortcut keys here as well for panning as well as refreshing. Zoom mode, you can set your zoom to corner, center, or factor. So you can set exactly where you want to zoom. Sorry. And then reverse scroll wheel zoom direction. So out is in is out. You can set that up as well. Format is just the format in which your date is viewed,
Yeah.
your time format, as well as your dimension format. Detail, very important. On a beefy computer, you can always set your details to high, and it'll give you a much better design preview as well as render. If it's a lower spec computer, you can set it down to medium, and it will not take as much resources, and you'll be able to have a much faster design experience. Layout again, like I said earlier, we set this up on outside as well, where you can set your clearances, combined toes, and your tolerances and such for your units. All right. Now that's everything for the top section on plan view.
Right.
So what we're going to do now is I'm going to start going through all the options here. And we still need to go through elevation as well. But between plan and elevation, we should be spending the rest of the day on this because there's still quite a lot to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this unit. I'm going to go into walls. So how walls works, it's fairly simple and straightforward. All I do is, as soon as I go into walls, I can go and select here now the type of wall that I want to do. Do I just want to draw a single wall? Do I want to draw chained walls, a wall box, or do I want to draw an arc wall? So line, if I press and I drag and I click, it just adds one wall.
Yeah.
Chained line, I press, click, and it automatically snaps another wall for me to drag and drop. And then another one, and so it continues. To drop this wall or to draw another one, you can just right click your mouse and it deselects it.
Okay.
Line box draws me a line box. And then arcs, we have arc by radius, 3-point arc, and arc by chord.
Right.
So you can then go and design your arcs as well for curved walls.
Yes.
However, I don't really like using the arcs. I rather bend, draw a straight wall, bend it as I need it. Because now I can go and select this one quickly. It's easier to bend this wall than it is to go and get the correct measurements to draw an arc for this. So all I do is I go into walls, I select bend, select the wall, bend it.
Oh, okay.
And there's your bent wall. Right. Join is to connect, fillet, or chamfer your corners. So I can go to fillet, I can give it a corner radius of 30. It's not going to work on these walls. That'll work on your custom designs later on. Don't stress too much about that. So those are your different types of walls that you can go and modify. To delete a wall, select it, right click, delete, or select it, press there on top, delete. Delete, and you can as well select multiple walls at once if there are no cabinets or anything on those walls placed. Just a bare empty wall, right click, delete. All right. Now, drawing a wall, there's two main ways. I can select my wall there and I can press, drag, place, or I can press, start dragging in the direction that I want the wall to go, and then I can type the value that I want. You'll see now there in the top left corner, it starts typing for a 2000. So drag it in the direction, type the value that I want the wall to be, enter, and it snaps the wall at that value. No matter what direction, if I drag down in that direction and I say 3000, it's going to snap the wall in that direction.
Right.
So make sure that you drag it in the correct direction. Even if I go and I draw backwards and I say 3000, it snaps the wall backwards.
Sure.
All right. Now that's a standard wall. Once I design that wall, I can now do still a few things with it. I can select it. I can still go and change its starting X value, starting Y value, end x value, end y value, its
How do
length.
we set the drawing to start at the 0 point of x, y, and z? Because at this stage, you see, it's taking you, if you go y, it's in a negative. Um,
There's 0, there's 0,
nice. And
there's
that's 0.
0.
So that's exactly dead center in the middle.
So end y, and now you have 0, 0, 0. That's how your wall's going to look.
And if you right click on the page, I want to see where exactly it brings the parameter, because I noticed the other day when you go into,
Okay, just remember something. It's going to be in the negative on certain aspects.
yeah, but that's what I say. Where is it splitting it? Because it becomes more difficult when you're planning. It takes you to a negative.
Yes, it does. It depends on the area that you want to design into. I'll show
So
you
do you
now.
center the page, or do you which is the best way to work with?
I'll show you now.
Right.
Put on your snapping grid. There's the center point.
Now, if the thing is that if you start drawing, how do you move the page? You always work from the center. That's what I'm saying.
You find your center point and then you just work.
All right. Okay. Let's work from this and see what we. Okay. Are you starting the new? You starting the new plan now?
Now I couldn't delete that wall that I made 0, 0, 0, so I just started a new. All right. So once this wall is designed, I can change my values there for it if I need to,
Yeah.
and I can change the style as well.
Yeah.
So standard is just a standard wall.
Right.
Then I have, before I go to the other walls, I'm going to give you all the examples that you can do here.
Yeah.
You can change the wall height, you can change the soffit height as well as the thickness of the wall,
Right.
and you can change the hatching for it as well,
Sure.
depending on what you want and how you like to view it. Now, on standard walls, it's fairly simple, straightforward. It's just a block wall. Then you get a peninsula wall.
Mm.
Now, a peninsula wall is an invisible wall. You'll see there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Now, what that does is a peninsula wall just gives you a snapping line or snapping point for your units.
Great.
So, for instance, if I have a unit there,
For you to create your islands and stuff.
correct, and a peninsula there. Now, for me to place a cabinet here, I need that peninsula wall. So now I can go and place a unit there in the middle of the room.
Sure.
Right. So that's what we use the peninsula walls for. Now on the peninsula walls, there's not really a lot of customization that we can do.
Yeah.
We can just change the dimension height, the soffit height, and we can go and select the back type of our units.
Right.
So if it's on finished, if I place a unit on it, it'll automatically build with a finished back. If I set it to unfinished, it'll automatically build with an unfinished back, and no back automatically build with a no back.
Right.
All right. So peninsula walls, fairly simple and straightforward. Other wall types that we have is cathedral. What the cathedral does is it gives me a
Yes.
cathedral wall, and on that cathedral wall I can go and change my values as well. So my vault height I'm going to change to 500, and my vault position I'm going to change to 300. So you can change those values as well if you need to. You can change the hatching as well. Then we have vaulted left, which gives me a vaulted left wall, and then vaulted right does exactly the same, just on the right.
Right.
So with walls, pretty simple, pretty straightforward, pretty self-explanatory. You can go and now go into walls, chained line, draw your design however you want. And there's no limit on what your walls can be. You can design it however you need or however you want. I know it's a little bit too much for it, so I'm just going to do this quickly. Okay. Any questions regarding the walls before we continue?
At this stage, no.
All right. So And then I'm going to start going into placing objects and modifying them.
Right.
Now, doing this, it's fairly simple and straightforward. Once I have a wall placed, I can now start and placing my units. To do that, I'm going to go into objects. I'm just going to go to floor cabinets, doors, one door, F1D. As soon as I select the unit, it'll give me a little preview here at the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm going to select this one.
Yep.
I'm going to hold it in, drag it, release. It gives me a snapping point. I'm going to place it, and I'm going to place another one there. I'm going to place another one there.
Yeah.
Right click to drop the cabinet so you don't place another one, and then you can now start doing your things. Now, before we even go into these units, I'm going to show you everything that we can do to them from the outside.
Yeah.
So once I selected the unit, you'll see it gives you your snap points. With these, I can change the depth of the unit.
Yeah.
I can change the width of the unit.
Yeah.
I can select it, move it, and then if I select it, it gives me all of the unit values on the left as well.
Yeah.
So clearance values is the space available between it and the next object.
Yeah.
So from left, if I make it 0, it adds it to the corner of the wall.
Yeah.
On right, 0, it snaps it to the cabinet next to it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to add this to 100, just move it away again. End position checks for the end position from the side to the end of the wall.
Yeah.
So if I do it on the left, it's fine. But now you'll see my end position from right is 1800. As soon as I make that 0, not enough space available to the right. Do you want to place F1D anyway? Yes. Overlaps with the other unit and places it on the inside. So always just be careful of that. If you want to use these values to move or change this unit, work with the clearance values. Center position does exactly the same as end position, but it does not work from the corners of the unit. It works from the center of the unit. So if I go and change my center position from left to 0, it places it flush on the center of the cabinet with the corner of the wall.
Right.
Then my dimensions, I can go and modify if I want. I can go and set this to 500. It's going to ask me stretch my cabinet to the left, to the right, or both. Changes my size of the cabinet. I can change my height and my depth.
Yeah.
Lock width is a very important little tool. If I have this unit here now, I'm going to place it there in the center with my units attached to the sides. Now if I go and tell this unit that I want it to be 800 wide, stretch cabinet, both, it'll shrink the two cabinets next to it. Now, if I don't want it to shrink this one, but I rather want it to shrink just this one, I can tell this unit, lock width, select this one, right, select this one, go and change my width to 900, but watch now. It doesn't even ask me to which side.
Because you've locked it.
It automatically picks up, because it's snapped to this one, locked width. This unit knows it cannot stretch to that side, so it automatically stretches to the other.
Right.
If I go and say here, lock width, if I go and change that to 1000, no space to stretch. Do you want to place F1D anyway? And then it's going to override that and force place it over those units.
And it's reduced it.
No,
Okay.
because they are locked width.
Yeah.
It force places it over it, so you'll see there it overlaps.
Yeah. Okay.
So always be careful of that. Then I have my position here as well. I can change my angle if I need to.
Yeah.
I can set it to -45 or however much I need to. I can change my outset on the unit to move it away from the wall, as well as changing my elevation. So currently it is on flush on the floor. I can change my elevation to 150.
Yeah.
And move it up against the wall. Right. So sizes and placement on the left, pretty straightforward, pretty easy to understand. Then next items I want to show you quickly is if I select this unit, right click on it, I have a bunch of options here.
Yeah.
Now this brings me back to the radial menu option that we saw in the preferences. This is the radial menu that you get if you right click on an item. If you go here, preferences, it's there by,
You can set it to which you prefer.
layout. Just want to find it
Tools.
quickly. General. There we go. It's use radial menus. I'm going to deselect that. Right click. Now I have a list.
Right.
So you can select there whatever works best for you. I prefer radial menus
Yeah,
because
you
it
can just see each part.
shows me better what it does.
Yeah.
So on this now I have a bunch of options. First option I have is copy.
Mm-hmm.
Creates a copy of the unit which I can then place multiple copies of.
Perfect.
Next option is properties. So properties opens up the properties tab for this unit where I can now go and change the name of the unit and the quantity of the unit. So if I change the quantity here to 10, it's still just going to show one unit. I'm going to delete this one unit. But as soon as I go to screen to machine center, it's going to output 10 of the unit. So you can do that as well
So
if
you
you
could
need
be
to.
designing for one, but you're planning for 10.
Correct.
Yeah.
Description I can change on it. I can add a price to this unit specifically for BitCenter
Yes.
as well as labor cost to the unit.
Right.
I can change my cabinet number, but which is nice is if I go there, I have cabinet 3 to 1. So it'll always start on the left from 1 to 3 and then move around
But
clockwise.
if you flip the room over, it should go from the other way around, isn't it?
No.
No, it stays the same.
Reverse room, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, it still works from the left.
It'll always go from the left, move clockwise. Now, if I go and I change this unit's number to 3, then it flips it. Then it'll say 3,
That should
1,
be working
2.
from the corner and coming out.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, the other thing that I can do with this now is I'm going to properties and I'm going to take this number and I'm going to lock the number. Which means now if I go and I change this unit's number to 3, number 3 is locked to another cabinet, then you know you cannot use that number. But if I change it to 2, it'll automatically swap with 2.
Okay.
All right. So that's just to change the numbers of your units. Just going to do this quickly just to remove all of those overrides.
Right.
I can open my doors, drawers, and rollouts for design viewing. I can say they open doors. It opens up the door on my unit so I can actually view on the inside. And I can do the same with my drawers and my internal rollouts.
Mm-hmm.
Exposed interior, that's why it's important to have an exposed version of the material schedule assigned correctly.
Right.
As soon as I say that, okay, there now I have an automatic exposed. Properties, expose interior, show plan CAD, show elevation CAD. I'll show you a little bit better what that does when we get to the CAD functionality in day 3. That'll make a little bit more sense then. Then on comment, I can go and add a comment onto this cabinet specifically, according if there's special instructions for installation or design or however.
Sure.
Finishes, I never modify this on the unit specifically. The finishes and the textures comes from the materials that it's assigned to this unit.
Right.
Legs, I can go and change the leg that I want. I can say they select and I can modify the legs on this unit so it does not follow the construction standard.
Sure.
So I can say that I want bunfoots. And okay, I don't have any legs assigned for this door. Which construction method am I? Let me check something quickly. I just want to change my construction method. Man-made kitchen standard. That's right. There we go. So there's my bunfoot legs. If I go and I change that to pedestal leg, there's my pedestal legs. Right. So you can change the legs manually on the cabinet as you need.
How come it's just putting the legs in the front?
It's how my construction method is set up.
So if you want to just change the legs, you want to add legs to the back, you
modify your construction method.
Okay.
Overrides, you'll see now, if I changed something manually on this unit, such as my legs, it'll pop up an override, showing me that was done manually. So it just keeps a list of your overrides.
Which is good.
You can go and remove certain overrides.
It also helps you for your costing, I guess.
Your BitCenter will bring it out as that item already. But if you remove the override, it'll go back to the construction default. Parameters, don't stress about that. You're never going to be using it. It's more on the program side. So that's everything for the properties tab in this unit.
Right.
Next item that we have here is replace. So if I now go and I have this unit in between two other units, and I want to place a different unit in between them, but I wanted to keep this unit's sizes,
Yeah.
I can right click, replace, select the unit out of my catalog. I'm going to take a tall unit, select it, select on the green button, replaces that unit with the construction of the tall unit, but it keeps it on the size as well.
Oh wow.
Instead of, I'm going to place the exact same unit here now. There we go.
Yeah.
Drag it, drop. So it replaces that unit with a new unit, but it makes that unit the exact same size as what the previous one was. All right. Lock width, that does exactly the same as what the lock width does there. It's just an easier option to quickly do it. Finished end, this is quite nice. You'll see now on my designs, on my units, if two cabinets are placed against each other, it automatically adds unfinished ends. If it's an open side, it automatically adds an exposed end. But now if I want to manually change this exposed end, the easiest way to do that is select the unit, right click, hover over finished end, and select what I want. Do I want to have no finished ends, finished end only on the left, finished end only on the right, or both? But now if I say there, right,
There's going to be a collision. How does it move it?
it replaces the unfinished end with the finished end.
Right. Okay.
But if I say there, none, then I have a unit with two unfinished ends. So you can manually change your side ends using that option. There is another way to do it, which I will show to you when we get to it.
Right.
But that's the easiest and quickest way to change your end
Your
type.
ends.
Then we have rehinge. So what that does is it changes the hinge location from left to right.
Right. Okay.
And then we have detach toe. So what that does is it detaches the toe and creates it as a separate construction. So it's no longer attached to the cabinet. The reason why we have this is if you want to remove the toe, you can detach it, select the toe, right click, delete. And then I have a toeless floating vanity. Right, I'm just going to delete that one, copy, paste. Next option I have is split. What that does is it splits the unit into two equally sized units. Then the option next to it is combine assemblies. I can select the assembly next to it, and then it creates a single assembly out of two separate units. Other option that I have here, either hovering over combine, is toe assemblies. I'm going to select toe assemblies, and it automatically combines toe assemblies for every unit that is attached to it. So it runs through, combines the toe assembly for all of the units. But now you'll see my toe assembly is automatically split, separate construction, so I can go and delete it, and then I have free floating units. Right, I'm just going to delete all of this because I'm going to need the toe assemblies. Next option I have here is edit part shape or edit shape. I'm not sure you guys did take X shaping, correct?
I think we've taken the whole version. What did he say? For stuff like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright. So what egg shaping does is it allows me to add cutouts on the edge of this unit.
Yeah.
So for instance, if I have a pillar here,
Yeah.
I'm just going to make it 7. I have a pillar there, and I need this unit to wrap around that pillar.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to select it. I'm going to say my clearance from the right is 0. Place it flush against it.
Yeah.
Right click. I'm going to go into edit shape, and then you have your CAD functionality here on top. All I'm going to do is I'm going to select chain line. Start off there. Make it the same width, which is going to be 100. So drag it in the direction, same as the walls. give your value, press enter, take it down.
Right.
Make sure it snaps. If you do use edit shape, make sure your snap to points are on. Otherwise, it will not snap on the lines. Then I'm going to say trim, delete the lines that I need to get away because I need this to be open. Right click, return, save new shape, yes. And now I have a custom unit with that cutout at the back. Now I can take this unit and I can change its end position from the right, and I can say minus 100. Enter,
And we'll shift it over.
and then it shifts it over and wraps that unit around the pillar. All right. So edit shaping, we're still going to be using quite a bit. It's quite a nice.
Will that then reconstrue this cabinet accordingly to that?
It reconstructs the cabinet. Yes, it
It
removes
makes
parts.
trims the part out. Okay.
There's your end. There's your back. There it cuts that whole part out, and it'll manufacture these parts exactly as you see
As
them.
the cutout.
Correct.
And if you go into the CAD drawing of that cabinet, does it show you the, because that's a back rail, does it show you all the construction?
How do you mean?
So if you click onto that cabinet,
Yes.
does it show you the physical cutout in the 3D?
There.
Oh, okay. Nice. Hi, how's it? What's happening? Busy.
Okay. So with the X shaping, we can do quite a lot.
Right.
But just remember the X shaping, it doesn't allow you to add cutouts onto the interior of the part.
Yeah.
That we use the CAD CAM function, which I will show you in a little bit. X shaping only allows you to modify on the edges.
Right.
So you can use your line options at the top, draw your lines attached to the edges, remove the lines that you do not need where you want to add the cutout, right click, return, save new shape, and it'll build the construction accordingly. So you can use all of these options on top. It's all the line types that you can draw. You use the trim option to delete the lines that you do not want. Right click, return, save shape. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. What you can also do is, I'm just going to remove the override on this just to show you. Overrides, remove. If I go and edit my shape, such as with just a chain line, and I accidentally did not snap that line, I'm going to snap it. I'm going to trim it. Before you return and you go out, press there on check. It'll show you green, showing that all the lines are closed, which means the construction is good. But if one line did not snap, or for instance, I'm going to say there trim, that one, and I check, you'll see there, shape is not closed.
Okay.
And it'll show you there, red line,
Right.
which means there's a line missing or there's a gap, no matter how small it is. Even if I go, I'm going to switch off my snapping points. This is why snapping points is important. And I draw a line. It does not snap to this line, which means I can accidentally press it there.
Just outside, yeah.
And right there. If I press check, it's going to show me too many shapes, which means that's not snapped, that's not snapped. So always make sure snap to points are on. It'll give you snapping points because there's a small little insignificant gap there, but cabinet vision does not allow it. Always make sure snap to points are on before using the edit shape function.
Right.
On the top view, if I went now and I edited my shape, I'm just going to add a chain line from there to there to there, trim, delete, return, yes. Now, and I want to remove this shape. I want to get my construction back to how it was before this shape was added. I can right click, properties, under overrides, it'll show you there, shape XZ template. Select it, remove, okay, and it'll default your construction back to the previous. Right. Other option you have here is edit part shape. So I can go and select on my unit, right click, edit part shape, and where I right click, all the parts flowing underneath each other, it'll give me the option to shape that part specifically. So if I right clicked over the top cleat, it'll give me floor bottom and top stretcher. If I had a shelf in it, I'm going to add a split quickly, right click, it'll give me floor bottom and the adjustable shelf.
Sure.
So now I can go and select that part specifically,
Right.
edit the shape. I'm just going to go from there to there to there, trim it, delete, delete, return. Okay, my part was not closed. It's my fault. Adjustable shelf, chain line. I'm just going to add a little cutout there. Trim that line. Why is it not closing? It's snapping onto the incorrect line. That's fine. From there to there to there to there. Check my lines. Everything looks good. Save new shape. It does not add shape the whole part, the whole unit, only that specific part.
Oh, okay.
All right. Now that's for the edit shape. Then I can go here to section. What section does is it opens up my section view on the elevation view, which we will get to in a little bit. We're going to modify in the section view when we're done with the radial menu. I'll show you all the options there.
Right.
Edit opens up the unit for me, so I can go into section view, face view, plan view, and end view on the unit and modify parts and parameters on the unit specifically. Save allows me to go and save this unit now in my catalog. So once I'm done modifying this, setting it, and it's a standard unit that I know I'm going to be using over and over and over again, and I want to save it in my catalog with all of those specifications, I can right click, hover over save, do not press save, it'll save over the original. Go to save as, then I can now go and select where I want to save it. So I'm just going to save it here under doors 1 door. I'm going to change the name, example, can change the description. I can preserve the height, the depth, notes, CAD, finishes, everything on this unit.
As it is.
Standardly, we just select height and depth here because it saves it with the height and depth on the unit. So we cannot modify it once we create this job again, or once we drag and drop that unit. Yeah. I can change the icon that it saves with. And that's the little icon that you see there on the side.
Yeah, I see that.
But I can also now go into advanced. Under advanced, I can change the class. I can say, is it a base unit, an upper unit, tall unit, vanity unit, appliance, or however. And I can change the type of unit. Now, depending on what you select here, it'll give you different options on what exactly the type is. Base unit, just your standard base unit. Then I can go and say placement. Oh, that's another thing with the autofill. On each and every single one of these units that you want to use for autofill, it has to be ticked there for autofill. So you're going to have to go through all of your units in CVCAD Edit and tick that for all of them in order to use it for autofill. So placement, I can now go and change how it places and how it stretches. So select the appropriate automatic placement, stretch hinge specifiers, horizontal on the wall or corner, stretching width, height, and depth, and where do I place it. Now with your wall units, if you want your wall units to work according to the soffit height, the space between the wall unit and the ceiling, you make sure that it says there below soffit, under soffit. If you wanted to work with the positional value from the bottom of the unit to the floor, you say there above positional. So depending on the two options that you selected there is what it'll work on when you place it. Preserves, I can now go and preserve extra items.
Right.
The material, so the material that I designed it with, the pull material handles, the hinges, guide material, the assembly construction, drawer box construction, drawer box material, rollout construction, rollout material, the door style, as well as drawer front style.
Yeah.
If you selected something here, for instance now, and I've had this many times in the past, and you preserve this on assembly construction. If you go and create a new job that's Golas, and you drag and drop this unit, it will not be a Gola construction. It saves it with the construction that you designed the unit originally.
For you to modify.
Correct.
Yeah.
But the problem is now, if you want to get that unit to follow again what the job is, and I've had many support cases about this where they forgot that they preserved this. Always go and check first if that unit's construction method does not follow, or the materials does not follow, or whatever does not follow what the job tells it is. It means it's a preserve saved on that unit. Go and check that first. Aliases, don't stress about that. You will never use that option. But just always remember about the preserves because it can either be your best friend or it can cause a lot of headaches.
Sure.
Once I'm happy with what I said there, I can say okay, and then I can say okay. That now saves that unit in my catalog. There it is. I can now drag and drop it, place it, and there's my unit. Right. So you can go and design all of your standard custom units, modify them, set them, save them in your catalogs, and then you have them for future use.
Right. If you know you're using them frequently.
Correct.
So from what I'm understanding, you'd rather have a Robin that's clean and easy to find things,
Correct.
as opposed to having too many.
Too many catalogs, too many folders, too many
It
files.
just becomes.
Keep this organized
Keep it
and you will
organized.
never have problems finding the stuff that you're looking for.
Yeah, so you can have as many as you like, but it's pointless.
Correct. Now, next option, this move label, quite a nice little option. If this label here is overlapping with another label, such as the countertop or the ceiling or whatever, you can right click, move label, automatically snaps, and you can put that label wherever you want it on the unit. Right. And then last option on the radial menu is delete. If I set that, it deletes the unit. Doesn't prompt you, are you sure? Do you want to delete? Nothing. It just deletes it. So just make sure you never accidentally press that delete. All right. Now, one more thing that I want to show you quickly with the ribbon menu, with specifically with the combine, you can use the combine to create corner units as well. If I have a corner design, I can take this unit, corner, place it there,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm going to take this unit, I'm going to place it there. Make sure that your clearance values from right on this one, you'll see it automatically leaves enough space. That's already clearance from right because it picks up there's a unit. So if I move that there, clearance from right 0, it snaps it automatically there. I'm going to take this unit, clearance from left 0, corners are touching.
Right.
As soon as those corners touch, I can go to this unit now, right click, combine assemblies, select this unit, and it automatically creates a corner unit for me. Now with this corner unit, I cannot change just this piece's length specifically or this one's length specifically because it is now a solid set unit.
Yeah.
So if I go and change anything there, it will not allow me.
Yeah.
It's locked on those sizes. To get those specifications correct, you need to specify the unit sizes first. So I'm going to take this one, I'm going to make it longer, I'm going to make it a little bit shallower. And now you'll see there.
It's not allowing you to slide through, right?
Correct. So what you can do is nothing. So always just be wary of that.
Yeah.
But you can change the widths of them. You can change both of their depths. I'm going to change this one's depth to 400. And I'm going to change this one's depth to 400. Now all of a sudden I have clearance value. I'm going to change that to 0, to 0. And then again, still I can go and combine assemblies with that one. And now it creates me a corner unit as such. All right. So specify your sizes on your units first before combining them and creating the corner unit. All right. So Next session that we're going to be doing, one more thing before I forget. When placing your units, do not try and place this unit perfectly flush
Yeah.
there. It is a lot of times going to leave a little bit of a gap. If you want to place them, overlap them. You can overlap them that much, so long as there's an edge on the side extruding past.
Right.
It'll snap to it. Even with this one, it'll snap to it. Overlap just a little bit on that side, it'll snap. You can even place it like that. It'll still snap. Overlap it, otherwise you might be left with
With a small
with clearances there, and it's going to cause issues like you would not believe. Always overlap them when you place them. All right. Happy with the radial menu options?
Absolutely.
Next option that we're going to be going through is the customization on the unit specifically.
May I take a break just to go and pass water?
No problem.
Thank you. Sorry, I've been sitting. Thanks, Ian.
No problem. Okay. So once we double click on the unit,
Yeah.
it brings us into the unit specifically. So here we now have section view, face view, plan view, end view, 3D view, and then reports for the unit specifically. Now, In these views, we can now go and modify every single detail and part of this unit specifically.
Right.
Most of the customization and changes will take place in section face and interior,
Mm-hmm.
not ever face plan and end.
Right.
The reason for this is I can go and change everything the same as what I am on section view. But the problem is if I do it in face plan and end view, it does not keep the parts intelligent. I'll show you a good example of this later because we are going to make some modifications here as well.
Sure.
But for start, we're going to be starting with section view. Before we go into modifying, I'm going to explain to you everything that's happening here on top and what controls what. So first off, window mode still gives you just your window splits,
Sure.
and that's just your layers and dimensions that we can still go and modify for this view.
Yeah.
Then we have section face and interior. Section face allows us to work on the face view of the unit, so the doors, the drawer fronts, and such. Section interior allows us to work on the inside of the unit.
Right.
Horizontal split, vertical split, multi-splits, and vertical multi-split is our different ways of splitting the view to create separate sections to work in on the two different views. So both views have the same option. You're going to be spending quite a bit of time now on this. Just want to explain to you the rest of the stuff you're going on top.
Sure.
So under properties here, I can go and change quite a few things now for this unit. Now you'll see if I go into general, it gives me a bunch of tabs here on top. All those tabs are these. It's just a different view. So if I go into construction, general is still there. If I go into materials, general and construction is still there. So it's just the tab views. So under general, I can change the name of the unit, the description of the unit, the quantity of the unit, and I can change the class and the type of the unit as well here. So if I want to change this base unit to an upper unit, that is a blind left, I can set it there. Price, I can add a single specific price for the unit as well as labor cost for the unit.
Right.
I can change my sizes, my width, depth, and height as well as lock width on this unit here. Then, next tab, construction. I can change the construction type, drawer box, and rollouts for this unit specifically, and it will not affect the rest of the units in the job. I can also go and modify for this assembly. So if I want to change something drastically on this unit in the construction method, I can go there to modify for this assembly, and it'll allow me to make those changes. It'll save a modified man-made kitchen standard nest or however for this unit specifically. For instance, if I go here, I'm going to make one small little change there. Exterior edging, okay, okay, yes. There's a modified man-made kitchen standard nest.
Right.
But now if I go into another unit, I'm going to add a new unit quickly. Section, properties, construction. That modified construction method is not there. It's only for that unit specifically. That's why it says modify for this assembly.
Yeah.
Right. Can modify it there if I need to. My drawer box I can change as well, modify if I need to. Rollouts, same thing. Materials, I can choose a different material schedule for this unit as well as modify for this assembly on the unit specifically. I can change my drawer box and my rollout material schedule as well.
Great.
Doors, can do the same with my doors. The best way to explain this, the doors, hardware, doors, materials, construction in general, construction, materials, doors, and hardware, all of these are the exact same options that I have when I go here for the job construction. Only difference is construction, materials, hardware, doors. It's not for the job or the room level, it's just for this unit specifically. All right. So doors, I can go and modify and change it there if I need to for a specific door on this unit with specific routes
Or for the design.
for specific designs of the doors on this unit. Hardware changes my handles, same as with my job properties, my drawer guide schedule, my hinge schedule. That you can set up there for the unit specifically. And then under case, we have a few extra options that we can do. Scribes, don't stress about that. You're never going to use it. But here I can go and set up, do I want no top on the unit? Do I want a full top? Do I want stretchers, web frame, or gussets? Do I want to remove my bottom or standard? And do I want exposed interior? I'm going to say they're full exposed. Okay. And it changes my unit accordingly. All right. So you can set up that under case. Reveals, I can modify the reveals for this unit here as well. And then you'll see there, I have an equalized door widths and drawer heights. What that does is, if I have multiple drawers here,
Yeah.
all different sizes, I'm going to change this one to, let's change it to 160, and this one I'm going to change to 280. So I have a 280, a 262, and a 160. And I want these to be all exactly the same size. There's two ways to do it, but the first way is you can go here, reveals equalized door widths and drawer heights, okay, and it resizes them exactly the same. So you can set that there. You can remove it again. If that is ticked, you cannot manually change the heights of those drawers. You need to deselect it here first.
Yeah.
Finishes, once again, we do not control this here. This gets controlled by the materials that's assigned on the unit.
Right.
Legs, I can change my legs here as well, same as what I did from the radial menu. Boring, we don't really use this. This is to allow for multi-drill holes or line boring on the unit specifically. But to do this, we rather set up a connection for the adjustable shelves and such and assign that connection on the unit, because then it'll drill the correct holes. And if I set this here, even if I remove my shelves and my sides and such, the boring is still going to be there.
Okay.
So we don't really use this as often. We rather just set the.
But it's there, should you?
If you do really need or want to use it, it is there. Yeah. But the safest and best way is just to set up the connection for it and assign it to the specific part in your construction method. Toe, I can control how my toe works here. I can change my toe height. I can change my toe height to 100. Automatically adjusts it. I can change my front recess, my back recess, and my left recess and right recess as well. And I can add sleepers as well. I'm going to add a sleeper, adds a mid sleeper automatically. And I can change my left recess to change it to 60. Changes it automatically, moves that in. So you can modify your toe construction for this quite extensively, and you can change your types as well. I'm going to say my left side toe is a full in, which means it takes my side and extends it past.
Yeah.
There we go. That's it. Yeah, extends it past.
No, you said left.
And my right side, I can make is currently an unfinished, which means it's
a joining tab.
Yeah. So you can modify all of that quite extensively under toes for the unit specifically.
Is it one? Is my eyesight, if you go back into the full properties where you were in the 3D view, the kick plate looks like it was, you'll see the two black clips. So is that not positioned properly? Yeah.
That's clipping through with my legs, which means my legs are not relative to my toes.
So but you can make those modifications.
You do that in the construction method, same as what we did on day one.
Okay.
Right, so that's everything for properties here.
Mm-hmm.
Next options that we have is modifications. Under modifications, I can go and check my overrides. Everything that I changed manually, and I can go and remove it.
Right.
If I do need to. And then it defaults my cabinet back to the way it was before I added those overrides. Next options I have there is default assembly. What default assembly does, you'll see now I have a unit here, 3 drawers with a door and everything. As soon as I say default assembly, all section construction and material changes will be lost.
Yeah.
So all of my modifications, changes, whatever. Remove shape templates, remove user modified system parameters, yes, and it defaults this assembly to a standard open unit.
Yeah.
Adjust parts. This allows me to make some modifications on my parts lengths and sizes. So top depth, I'm going to say with minus 100. My bottom depth, I'm going to make bigger with 100. My left end height, I'm going to make bigger with 50. My depth, I'm going to say minus 50. My elevation, I'm going to make with 50. And my right end, I'm going to leave standard, just give you an idea. And that then modifies my sizes on my parts. So it won't do anything with the top because I do not have a full top included, but I can just go case, give it a full top quickly. And there you'll see it makes it shorter on the top. My finished end extends past, moves forward, moves up. My bottom is sized differently. Now, I can change these sizes on the parts specifically in face plan and in view quite a lot easier than I am in section view. But the thing is now, because I added those overrides, if I go and change the size of this unit, so I'm going to delete this one quickly, to width 800, height 900, and depth 400. It keeps those changes perfectly. But now, if I go, I'm just going to add a new unit. I'm not going to remove all the overrides. And I go and I select my finished left end and I change my sizes here, which is quite easy. I can change my length to 600.
Yeah.
I can change my width to 400. And there's my parts changed.
Sure.
Quite easy. But now I go and change this. 800, 950, and 800. It does not adjust this part with it. As soon as I change the sizes, and we're going to get to it quite a bit later on, but I just want to give you a forewarning. As soon as you change the sizes on this part specifically, it breaks the parent connection that it has with the rest of the case.
Yeah. Okay.
And it no longer resizes or adjusts with the sizes of the case. Right. So just always be careful of that. But we're going to get into that a little bit later because there is certain things that you can do on the face plan and in view that is very helpful. Right. So adjust parts is there. If you want to adjust the size of a part, do it there.
Right.
Hide parts. This allows you to go and modify what parts you want to see. So I can go and say hide my left end, and it removes
So
it.
you don't see it. Yeah.
It's still there, it's just hidden. It won't output to bit center, costing, reports, manufacturing, nothing. But if I need it back again, I can just go modifications, hide parts, deselect it, and there it is.
Great.
Right. So hide parts allows you to hide any part on the unit. Modify assembly, you're never really going to use this. We rather use the construction method modifications. And then reverse assembly reverses it completely. All right. It does the same as what the flip option does. I want to reverse it back now. So that's it for the modifications tab. Any questions there before we move on?
Not really. I'm fine with it.
All right. Then what I'm going to start showing you now is how to modify this unit.
Sure.
So on section face, I can go and select the front of the unit and then I can start changing it according to what I need it to be.
Right.
So the first thing you need to see is as soon as I select there, it's going to open up my properties here.
Yeah.
I can now go and say here, is it a door? Is it a pair door? Sliding doors, drawers, false front, open, panel, or blank panel. Depending on the option that I select here, it'll give me more options on the bottom. So for a door on hinge, I can change my hinge location or I can say none. I can say left hinge, right hinge, top or bottom. And I can change my mullions and lights. So mullions and lights works with your shaker doors,
Yeah.
where you can change the amount of squares on it. And then I can change my inset as well. If I go here to adjustments inset and I say 1, it automatically reduces the size of the unit to fit inside the open space of the unit. So there I can now go and say if the door is 16 mil thick, I can go and say 16, and it creates an inset door for me.
And it's already taken into consideration the measurements for what we took the overall width minus the gaps.
The reveals,
The
correct.
reveals. So it uses the same reveals what we had on our overlay versus the inset. What's that, 1.5?
2 meters, this is on my construction method, and 1.5.
Yeah.
But if
And
your
that's why
construction
it's
method
not
is
there.
set correctly, then your reveals there will be correct.
And in the bottom reveal, you see what it's done in the bottom. It'll be true as well.
It's flush. Because I don't have a reveal at my bottom. I keep
Oh,
it
you
flush.
made 0, yeah, okay.
Like I said, this is on my construction, so it's not going to be to your standards.
But if you wanted to change it, or you click on the door, you just change the reveals accordingly.
You go to properties, reveals, and you modify your reveals there. So on bottom, I want reveal 2, and there it now adds my reveal.
Okay, great. Cool.
If I change that back to 0 again, it brings it out as a standard slap-on door on the front.
Nice.
Then I can go and change sizes on it as well. I can make my left, make it bigger, my right, make it smaller, my top, make it smaller, and my bottom, make it bigger. So you can modify your sizes on it as well if you do need to. If you want to get an overhang for a finger pull or however, if you don't want to do it, if you want to do it for this door specifically.
Yeah.
But as soon as you set it to 0, 0, 0, 0, it'll default back to the standard.
Okay.
All right. So on the doors, there's quite a bit more that we can do.
Yeah.
I can also now go and right click, properties.
Mm-hmm.
On this now, I can go and change my door style again.
Yeah.
I can go and change my profiles. So top edge, left edge, right edge, and bottom edge. I can assign a finger pull to the door.
Yeah.
And I can also section the door. Now in section door, we don't really work because for section door, what this does is we use it for our shaker doors and such to add extra mullions and lights or extra machining and such. But we rather set the door up correctly from the get-go.
Okay.
Rather in the door catalog because it gives you a lot more controllability. I can open my door here as well
Right.
for my designs and my renderings.
Yeah.
And then on hinges, I can go and change my hinge. I can change my hinge plate. I can change my relative distance, and I can change my quantity. So I can say there I want, instead of 2 hinges, I want 3. There I have 3. Or I want to change my placement from 100 to 150, and the bottom one I want 50. Changes my hinge placement as well. Pulls, I can go and change my handle. I can change the quantity of my handles, and I can change my reference point, and I can change my horizontal and vertical placement values, so where it places on the door, and I can rotate the handles as well.
So for machining purposes, would that come through as well when you're doing?
If you add the holes on the model on the
Right.
doors, yes, on the handles. But for these, the handles that I created do not have holes. The reason for this being is because not every client drills the same pilot hole depth or width.
And you might drill it and you find you don't have stock of those handles and you stuck.
Correct. So that's the door properties options that we can modify and change there. Pretty straightforward. Next option that we have is pair doors. They work exactly the same.
Nice.
Only extra option that I have there is I can change my pair gap there manually. So I can say there is it a 20 mil or 30 mil or 2 mil or a 1 mil gap or however much I need.
Right.
Rest of the options on them are exactly the same as for the doors. Sliding doors, you can go and select there as well, and you can change your door quantity there. to the amount of doors you want. Your doors overlapping value you can modify there as well.
Sure.
And left door, front or back you can modify as well. And that'll then add your sliding door rails.
Perfect.
Rest of the options on them exactly the same.
Great.
Then I have drawer. My drawer box has a few more options now. I can now go and select my inset. I can make it an inset drawer as well.
The same as the door. Yeah.
I can go and change my box depth manually if I do need to. So instead of because it'll always try and use the biggest box that it can, but you can go and change it to a different size if you need to. I see here my drawer box construction and runners are not matched. So Bloom Legara box, let's take Bloom Mediva box, Bloom Mediva box, Bloom Mediva box, Mediva box. There we go. That looks a little bit better, but it's now a little bit confused because I changed that manually. So I'm just going to delete all of that, and then I'm just going to add a drawer again. Here we go. That looks better. And then I can go and I can change my box depth there, and it'll change accordingly. Otherwise, it'll always try and use the biggest box that it can. I can change my clearance values for my runners and my hinges and my door front as well.
Right.
But this will always be set standard with the runners and what they need to in order to work correctly. And then I can change the size adjustments of my drawer front as well as I did with my door. Then when I right click on my drawer, I can go into properties and I have most of the same options that I had on my doors. So I can change my door style, my outside edge profiles, my materials and such. Hinges won't have an effect because it does not use hinges. I can change my handle here as well. But then I have drawer box where I can change my construction method and my runner manually for this door, for this drawer. Difference is here, I can go into section drawer box. This opens up the inside of the drawer box from the top, where I can now go and add rails and styles. And that'll then add partitions in the drawer box for me as well. All right, makes sense.
Absolutely.
Right. So those are the options for the drawer box. False front just adds a slap-on panel, same material as the door, called a false front. And those options will be the exact same as the door. Open just makes the unit open. Panel also just adds a standard panel. And then blank panel adds a cabinet side onto the front.
Well,
All right. So those are the different options that you have here according to what you can assign on the front. Now you can assign more than one type. To do that, you can split this into multiple sections instead of just one solid section.
yeah.
To do that, I'm going to use the options here on top, or I can right click. So there you have split vertically, split horizontally, equalize width, and equalize height. So this split vertically, split horizontally does exactly the same as what these do.
Right.
So I can say there, horizontal split
Then
adds
it's
two
right.
sections.
Yeah.
Both of these sections I can now go and say, bottom I want a drawer, top I want a door. And you have two separate sections that you can work with. Now, other thing that we can do here is I can go and say horizontal multi-split.
Yeah.
Tell it split it into 4 equal openings of doors, drawers, opens, or drawer and door. I'm just going to say 4 drawers. Okay. And there's my 4 drawers.
Yeah.
All equally split or close to it. Now to get this to equalize, we can either go into properties, go and equalize it where we did previously, or I can just right click on the top door, equalize height, bottom one, equalize height, equalize height, equalize height. And that'll equalize the 4 drawers as well. Now once you've done that, you'll see my height I cannot change
Change.
because I need to go and deselect the equalize height first. All right, makes sense.
Yeah.
Right, so you can, now, if I want to delete something, I cannot right click delete. I can say I can select it and say open, and open.
Yeah.
That removes it, but to delete all of this on the inside of the unit or a specific part, I
Yeah.
can select it and say delete.
Delete.
If I want to delete everything, select anywhere next to the cabinet on the blank screen, say delete. Warning, do you want to erase all face and interior parts? Yes. And that opens up my cabinet, stock standard again.
Great.
Right. Now, before we move into section interior, there's a few more things that we can do. You'll see here, if I don't select the unit, it gives me this little block outline.
Sure.
So here, I can now go and select my 4 sides.
Right.
So face, left side, right side, back. And I can go and change what those sides are. So on my left side, I can say type, and I can tell it exactly what it is. So I can say, is it an automatic? That will automatically follow what the construction method tells it.
Yeah.
Or I can say applied finished end. So it adds an applied finished end.
Okay.
I can go and say I want a no end. That removes the end. So you can go and set up the end there specifically for this unit specifically. But if you leave it on automatic, it'll always follow what the construction method is telling it to be.
Right. Sure.
Also, you'll see there side types. I can make this side a face.
Yeah.
Then I can select that face and I can put a door, a pair door, a slide door, or a drawer on it. So then you have a left end face as well that you can add doors and such. But you'll see now my front face is priority number 1.
Yeah.
Left face is priority number 2. Now, if it's on end, I can only select face. But if I selected face, I can make this a back panel as well. As soon as I selected face there, it opens up the back panel option. And I can say there, I want a finished back there. And that then adds a finished back. Right. Otherwise, end automatic. Nice thing is I can do that on all sides. So I can go to my back, call it a face, priority 2, select it, and I can put a door up there, and I have a door up there, and now I have a double door unit. Right, makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's what I can do there. Now my construction method is going to be a little bit wonky now because I made a lot of manual changes. Right, so that's it for the section face view. Quite a lot that we can do there. But the next section that we're going to go to now is section interior. So section interior allows me now to make modifications on the inside.
Yeah.
I'm just going to delete this one. Now, first off, before we add splits or however, you can see here, if I select it, it doesn't really give me a lot of options. It tells me open, cubbies, or object. So open means I can go and add shelves and dividers and splits and internal drawers and however. Cubbies automatically adds my shoe cubbies. And here I can now go and change my width and height of my cubbies as well, depending on what I need it to be. I'm just going to remove this door quickly so I can actually see on the inside. Open, and that adds my cubbies. The next section that we have there is object. So object opens up my catalog. Here I can now go to my appliances.
Integrated.
And I can say I want a microwave. This one, select it, press on the green button,
Yeah.
and it'll resize that microwave to fit perfectly into the unit. Now, always make sure before you do this, design your unit before adding the integrated appliance so that the unit is at the correct size. Otherwise, it's going to completely resize this unit and it's going to look rather weird. If I want to remove this object, I can either delete it or I can just say open. That removes it as well.
Oh, okay.
All right. Now here I can still go and I can say horizontal multi-split.
Yeah.
That adds a shelf. On this shelf now, I can not go into the properties, I can delete it, and I can modify the settings for it on the left. So I can tell it here, is it a shelf, an adjustable shelf, a glass adjust shelf, fixed shelf, rollout tray. Rollout tray is your internal drawer stretcher, top or a bottom. So depending on the shelf that you choose will depend on your connections and how it works. So on a shelf,
Do a lot of tray, let's see what it does.
my rollout tray isn't set up. You'll see here, job, cabinet. This one isn't set up correctly because my hardware does not have the rollout runners on it.
Okay.
So if I say here, half-fillet ball bearing rollout, hardware, half-fillet ball bearing.
It should not.
Just remove it. Oh, it's gone now. Horizontal split.
Oh, okay.
It's just my
Yeah.
my drawer guide schedule isn't set up for
And you can
internal
also
rollouts.
open the, you can add the drawer cloud as well. Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's cool.
Right.
Nice.
So depending on what I select here, it'll assign it correctly. Even if I go here to glass adjustable shelf,
Yeah.
it'll assign a glass slab with adjustable shelf holes because that's how the material schedule and construction method
Just
has
one
been
more thing
set
on
up.
that inner drawer that you've created.
Yes.
If you add one now, if you wanted three of them, would it? Do you just duplicate it? Do you multiply it? What? Do you copy it?
We're still getting to that section.
Ah, okay, all right. Okay,
So
yeah,
I can now go and select my different selves here and I can modify them as well. I
yeah,
can
right.
change their depth, left and their right, and I can fix them to the center,
Yeah,
top, bottom, and default allows me to drag and drop and change them.
nice.
To change the positions here, I can select on the open screen and I can change the height there
And
to what I want it to be. Works exactly the same for all of my objects here.
yeah,
They all have exactly the same options. Only one with a different option is rollout tray. It'll give me my setback, float shelf holes, and my relative is exactly still the same.
yeah.
Right. Rest of the stuff, exactly the same options. Now to add multiple shelves, I can either go and add horizontal split,
Manual.
horizontal split, and I can go and change all of these to rollout trays, or I can say horizontal multi-split, 3 rollouts. Opens up space, 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 and there's my 3 rollouts.
Okay.
To change the sizes in between them, I can just make that 0, and I can make that like a 10 from the bottom. I can go and say lock height so it doesn't move it, and if I go and say there now 0, ek het jou height mos nou gelok. O, ek het die verkeerde height gelok, dis kom. 10 from the 0, lock height, and then 0 moves it down. There I have 2 internal rollouts on top of each other. So you can use the horizontal multi-split to go and add multiple ones.
Yeah, more than one.
Correct. Now, the other options that we have for internal is I can go and add dividers as well.
Yeah.
So I can go and say there, if it's a divider or a partition, I can tell it split the top, split the bottom, split the back. So it takes that divider and it splits this unit into 2 separate entities. And then I can go and switch it off again. And there I have single standing free unit with my divider.
Great.
I can go and change my type here to a double partition or a divider, and I can make adjustments to it as well. Size on your depth, top and bottom,
Yeah.
and then I can hide it as well if I need to.
Right.
Now, nice thing about all of these options is you can pretty much go and do what you want. I can go and do that, that, that,
You can really customize it.
that,
Yeah.
and I can now go and manufacture this, and all of my machining and drilling
It's
will
there.
be correct.
Yeah.
Right. So section interior, quite a lot that you can do, not very difficult. You select the interior, add what you want, select the part, and modify it as you need.
Cool.
Sorry. All right, so that's pretty much it for section face and section interior. Not very difficult, pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Next options that we have here is face. Oh, I actually wanted to show you this. If I go and I say section interior, horizontal multi-split, I can still go and say there cubbies, and this one object, and add it. You can still do your correct. You can still go and modify that as you need to. Just open up this the center, select the center, the interior, and then modify it as you need. Right. Next options that we're going to be going through is face view. So on face view, we have a lot of the same controls that we do on section view.
Yeah.
Only difference is it works mainly on part specific. So what I can do here is I have my edit shape function where I can edit the shape of the box.
Right.
Same as what I did from the plan view, but I can do it on face, plan, and in view. So I can go here on in view, say edit shape, a chained line from there to there, to there, to there, turn, trim, delete, and it adds that cutout throughout the part. Once that has been done, I can still go properties, overrides, remove, okay, and it defaults my assembly back to the way that it was. Objects does exactly the same as what the section interior object does. Only difference is if I go here object and I want to plant this microwave, it does not resize it. You need to go and manually set up this unit at the correct size for this microwave or oven, and then go and place the oven so that it fits correctly. Otherwise, it's going to leave clipping like this. It's going to leave gaps, and it's just going to look horrible. I'm just going to delete this whole unit because it's kind of a mess to delete that microwave on its own. So that's what objects do. And the nice thing about this is it's not even just for appliances. You can go and say, I want a furnishing. I want fixtures, other picture frames. I'm going to get this. That's a massive picture frame. Let's get something else. Let's get a plants and flowers. Small freestanding. I'm going to take this little flower and I'm going to place it there in the unit. Just going to open up my unit quickly.
Yeah, I see
now I have a flower there.
Yeah.
And I can go and select this flower now.
And you can fit it into the cabinet.
And I can change its in out by 200.
And it should resize it.
Yeah, you can resize it as well, but most of these models are brought in at the correct size.
Yeah.
So you can go and place stuff inside the unit for purification, such as books or coffee cups or however you need, just to make it look pretty. That's what we use this object for. To go and just add some designing appliances or finishing in your cabinets and such. You can even go and say light. Let's take something else. electrical sockets. I'm going to add a socket here in the back. Adds a socket there in the back, but you won't be able to see the socket because it sits at the back. I'll show you something nice when we get to the CAD editor, so I'm going to leave that there for now. Right. So objects, we use that. We use it to put design furnishings and such inside the cabinets. New part, library part, you will not be using for now. This is more on the advanced side. Yeah, because you can go and add a new part, which you can then go and fit and place it. But to get that part to work correctly, you need to write equations, parameters, and it's if I teach you how to do that now, we're going to run out of time. I'm not going to be able to cover the stuff that we need to, and it's just going to confuse you.
Which part would that be on part 3?
We book that under custom training. That's we book that for advanced training, where we then sit down and you book 2-3 hours of training with me, and then we go through that. But we will also only start advising that once you've passed day 3 test. Molding, quite fun. You can now go and add molding onto this unit specifically. So I'm going to go and add a crown. I'm going to take the corners, and I'm just going to go and from there to there to there to there, right click to stop drawing, return, save new shape, yes, and I have molding now around the cabinet. I can now still go on face in molding in face view.
Sorry, do you do the molding around the doors as well?
You can do the molding wherever you want.
Okay.
Because you can now go and select this molding, and you can say in out 600, which is the depth of the unit,
and you push it right against the back, or bring it right against
and then it's in the front. So you can use that to design moldings around your units or in between your units, or however you want to, or above the cabinets. There's a different way to do it. This is just in the unit specifically. I can now still go select this molding, right click, I can go into properties, I can change my type to whatever I need it to be. I can also go and say molding type, I can change there. I can hide it in visibility, but layout visibility will do when we do layers and dimensions. I can mirror the profile, so it's on the inside, not on the outside. I can mirror it horizontally, so that it flips around. And I can rotate the profile as well, so that it anyway sits like that. I'm just going to switch that on again, and then my molding will look fine. Other options I have here is I can add a comment to the molding for reports. I can change the finished color of the molding. I can look for overrides on the moldings and parameters you do not need to worry about. You're never going to use it.
Right.
Now, nice thing about this is I don't have to change the color and everything here on this specific. If I'm in 3D view, I can select that molding and I can change it there. I can change the texture there. So when I go into texture mode, I can change the texture as well. So these design moldings and such, you can modify quite extensively in 3D view, but we'll cover that a little bit more once we get to 3D training on day 3. All right. So with the molding, you can use that to add molding around, inside, above, in the front, or however on the unit specifically. I'm just going to delete that quickly, and those can stay my info now. All right. So that's what we can do here on face view. Now we can do a lot more. When we go into the parts, I just want to show you the differences between face plan and in view. So face plan and in view are pretty much exactly the same. Oh, and I'm not going to go into CAD right now. We're going to be doing that on day 3. So face plan and in view, you can do exactly the same. It's just your different viewpoints. Now, the main thing that you're going to be doing here is you're going to be working on parts specifically. Not resizing them, but customizing them. So I can go and select a part, finished left end. Once that part's selected, I can right click and I have some options here now. First off, I can go into properties.
Yeah.
I can change the part name. I can change the material manually. I can change the, okay, you won't be able to change the part type because that's locked, but you can change the material there and the description. I can add a comment. Don't worry about flutes. Finish also, that gets controlled by the material. You can check for overrides. Right. So here you can change the description if you need to, as well as the material if you need to. Also, I can go and edit splits. My vertical split, I can go and add a split into that part, splitting it into two parts, which mine did not want to do now. I think it was too fast, but it's fine. It's anyway not something you're ever going to use because it splits the part into two separate parts. Edge banding, quite nice option. As soon as I go into edge banding, I can select all of my edges and I can change the banding that I want on the edges. So if instead of exterior edging, I want to change it to interior edging or custom edging or wide edging, I can change it manually for that part specifically. You can either go and select each and every individual edge and modify it, or you can say there, set banding, choose the banding, and then select the edges that you want to work on. Go back, save it, and then you'll see you'll have edging on, sorry, edging on that part. Now it has edging all around white with brown in the front. Right. So select it, left finishing, right end, edge band. Also, you can go here to edge connection and you can modify connections on those edges. Now you'll see all these edges are gray, which means there are no connections into the edges of this part because my top stretches connects into my finished end. So if I go to plan, you'll see if you go here, for instance, on your nailer, on your top stretcher, edge connection is not available or edge band. The reason for this is I'm not on the view that I can visibly see it. So if I go to plan view, top stretcher, and there they are. Now I can go to edge connection. Now you'll see there's blue, meaning there's connections. If it's a colored line, it's connections. I can now go and select that edge, go there, and I can change the connection to what I need it to be. Now instead of a data, it has one single screw.
Yeah, you can use a cam or you can use whatever.
You can set in there whatever you need if it's a custom
And if you
change.
need to jump back on that piece and either shift it out, move it in, do you double click on it or what do you do?
How do you mean?
Like if you need that to come slightly up
The
or
connection.
down, the connection, yeah. Then you got to go into modifying the cabinet.
Correct.
So you
So
can't
what you
modify
can
the
do,
piece here.
you can go here and select this edge and you can go and make a copy of this connection with the modifications.
Yeah.
And you can go and come and assign it there. But you need to modify the connection itself for it. Okay. Only thing you can do here is you can reverse the connection and you can flip the connection. That's all you can do. Alternatively, if you don't want to go to each edge and go in, change the connection, you can say there, set connection, choose the connection that you want to apply, select the edges, escape, yes, and then it'll add those connections to the part. Right. So all of them works pretty much exactly the same in those two objects. Relate to part, I wouldn't really advise you to ever use this. It's much more on the advanced side where you can go and make this part work exactly like other parts using equations and parameters and such. It's honestly not even worth it. It's too much of a hassle. You're never going to use it. Other option I have there is I can go and edit the shape of this part like I showed you previously. I can go and select it, edit the shape of it, as well as edit it. So as soon as I go there, it opens the part specific view where I now have front, top, and end view. Now I'm not so sure if you have cam view, because cam view is where we go and add manual machining to the part. Please check if you have cam view.
bear with me because I have to open the cabinet. Should be. Now mine is coming up with section, face, plane, M, 3D, and reports.
You're not in the.
Because I'm not into the piece itself.
Go to face view,
Face view,
select a
select
part,
part.
double click on it.
One second, unfinished back door and slab.
Select the unfinished back, double click now.
No, it still doesn't come. It says front, top, and
Yeah, then you're gonna have the CAD explicate functionality. Edition. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this because
I
it's
don't
a
need to pay for that.
yeah, it's a separate module that you need to buy. Just to give you a quick insight on what that does,
It allows you to make the changes to that part.
I can go into my finished left end and I can go here and I can say I want a square there,
Yeah,
select it, and depth 16,
It cuts it out.
and it adds that cutout into the part.
Christopher did say we did say we'll buy it at some stage, but in the meanwhile we just want to get the production grade.
All right.
So we'll get it at a later stage.
It's fine. Then I'm not going to spend too much time on that because it's not something you're going to be using now. But then we pretty much covered everything on the part specific. It's mainly the edge banding manual changes as well as the edge connection manual changes that you are going to be controlling from here. And then the save to library you're also not going to be using because that's more on the advanced side with stuff that you guys aren't really going to be using in right now, and it's also not on day 2 test. Right. So otherwise than that, face plan and end view works exactly the same. You have the same options, it's just to view different viewpoints to work on the different parts.
Yeah.
So any questions regarding face plan or end view before we move on?
No, I fully understand that. No.
All right. Then I think what we can do is we can take lunch quickly until 1:45,
Fine.
and then we can
Can I
continue with.
get